It's like a max stack daily trainer. Who would have thought? 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 Okay, everybody, I'm waiting for visible light to allow me to run outside, but it looks like Rochester's permanently dark and there's a snowstorm rolling in, so I'm in the Puma Mag Max 2 today for the long run. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice, but I am 100% super duper sick right now. This is the sickest I've been in probably a year and a half, and pretty much the only time I've been sick in that period of time. And so I'm a cranky guy right now, but I am looking forward to running in the MAGMAX because it's not every day that I get a new shoe, and it's not every day that it's my first brand shoe. I've never run in a Puma shoe before, so today is the day to give Puma a try and see what they've been up to since they've built all of this hype around them over the past year, maybe even 2 years. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to give you a much more detailed breakdown after the run. And of course, I will be bringing my camera on the run as always to give you my thoughts as they arise in my head. The reason I'm doing this intro right now, though, is because I'm probably going to get a couple miles in before I could actually even film anything due to how dark it is outside. And I'm ready to get going. So I'm not trying to wait for there to be light out to go for a run. So let's get on the road. And when it's bright out, I'll talk to you about my first impressions of the Puma Mag Max 2. I don't think it's gonna get any brighter out. This is what we're stuck with all day. I have a lot to talk about so far. I'm about 2 and change miles in, and the very first thing I noticed is y'all were right about Puma grip. This is a grippy shoe. I was running on ice. I'm sure you saw, because I edited it before placing this clip in the timeline. And yeah, I mean, I was running on ice. What can you say? It's still slippery, but it was actual ice. I would say this is equivalent, if not slightly better, than the Adios Pro equipment for grip, which is Adidas's Continental. And the snowy, icy patch that I was running on today, it was slicker than the conditions that I was running on the other day in the Pro equipment, because it's actual ice right now. That was mostly slush. So that's a really good tick in the right box, tick in the grip box, especially since it's winter right now, which is kind of why I bought the butter and grease colorway. The midsole in this buttery yellow will probably wipe clean relatively easily, and the gray of the upper is the same color of Rochester, New York. So it's really like you know, local pride representing Rochester. It's the Rochester colorway, butter and grease. Other things that I've noticed so far, really a fan of the midsole. Speaking of butter, feels like butter underfoot. Not the like 100% the bounciest experience, nor would I want it to be. And like for today, for example, I am sick. I don't want to be out here. I want to run slow. I want something a little more substantial so I don't have to think of my foot strike. I want something more tuned for impact absorption than for bounce and explosiveness. But I don't want it to not be fun. Like, everything needs to be fun these days, for me at least. So far, this is delivering that exact experience, and it's just important that we acknowledge the context of the shoe and like why I'm running in it today. Well, it's because it showed up today, but I need the recovery run. I need something that could go long. I need something that could handle the winter wonderland that we're in. And I need something that doesn't require a lot of thought or proper form to get right, because my mind is in a haze right now. I can barely think. And so far, yeah, wow. I did not expect to like this so much immediately, because this is not my category. I don't typically go for or reach for max stack shoes, or I wouldn't, but that's all that anybody cares about these days. So that's why I'm reviewing them, but this makes me understand why people are doing it, why people are running in these types of shoes. They're fantastic so far. I weighed it before leaving at 272 grams, which puts it right there with the Hoka Mach X3. Shockingly, this feels lighter on foot than that. I don't know, I couldn't explain it. This has such a wide platform, and I was really concerned that the heel would be clunky. But if anything, it's like not. I mean, it feels almost like it's a lower drop than 8 millimeters, which is crazy because it's such a chunky heel. I'll leave it at that for now. Get some more miles in. Hopefully the sky brightens up a little bit. One more thing before it leaves my brain is the upper at first was too loose. Like, the fit was too loose, and so I adjusted the upper and I tightened it too much, and a thing happened that I get a lot with these more plush uppers is that the circulation started to die in my foot. So I blew it out, I loosened it a bunch, and now there's no issues. It's still, my right foot is heel slipping a little bit, but it's not bugging me right now.
Eat, sleep, run, repeat. Let me see you move your feet. Eat, sleep, run, repeat.
Honestly, I've never owned an Easy Day shoe that I've actually liked. This might be a true first for me. I'm really enjoying this so far. Meanwhile, I'm running out of usable road. Even as good as the grip as this is like...
Oh, buddy, don't give up.
Guy scared the shit out of me. Ooh, wowzers. I was just filming the snow, and I got cheered on real good. But yeah, it's slippery out. Even with the Puma grip, you can't fix ice. This is just Rochester in the winter time. This is a very needed shoe for my rotation, especially for this time of the cycle where I need to be running slow. Especially today, I'm so sick. I was like moaning in bed last night. That sounds bad.
I was definitely, but I was. I mean, I was just being a little crybaby in bed yesterday. They're also a really low cadence shoe. I've just been clomping, you know, and I can't tell if I'm landing mid or fore or rear foot. Still feels like I'm landing in the forefoot, but I have just no way of knowing. There's so much stack underneath me. It's hard to tell, but what I can tell, because it says it on my watch, is that my cadence is like 5 to 10 steps per minute slower than normal. It's not a good thing, not a bad thing. It's just a thing, you know. I think I just made a really strange and impulsive decision to reduce my gel intake over the winter. So I'm gonna try to do this at 18 to 20. I really want to go 20, but I just think that maybe 18 is a bit more realistic, but we'll see. Because I'm actually feeling shoe-wise and running-wise pretty good, but I'm still sick. 2 Dayquil and an ibuprofen have brought me slightly to life in the sickness front, but I'm still sick. So, but I think that if I go a gel at 6 and a gel at 12 or 13, should be fine. I'm going really slow right now, so I don't think that the amount of like glycogen that I'm utilizing right now is all that high. And I feel like I ate a lot yesterday, so we're just gonna play it by ear. But yeah, I want to reduce the number of gels I'm taking, because if I'm not gonna race with them right now, I don't want to like bear the expense of 4 gels per week. It's like $8 a week or something, even more maybe. It's crazy how rhythmic these shoes are. It's almost sonorous, like a white noise machine for your running. I'm like not locked in, but lulled in. Not cranking, but cradled. Not cooking, but broiling. Not brawling, but sprawling. Not all in, but calling. Not banging, but hanging. Not gunning, but running. Not pouncing, but bouncing. Honestly, these are the best winter days where it's silent as the forest. A dark, dark night. And the only sounds are cars driving by and your footfalls muffled by the thick winter hat cupping your ears. Very isolating, calm, deadened. For some reason, I've been having a really hard time getting into The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. It has everything that would make a good book for me. Discussion on meaning, a murder mystery. I guess I don't really read murder mysteries, but I like them. And it's literary, slightly longer. I just find the prose really dry. Like really, really boring. I feel bad saying that. Maybe it's the translation. It's gotta be. Because Italian is such a flowing, rising and falling musical language. So translating that can't be easy. Could be just the prose itself from Umberto Eco as well. I just don't know. But yeah, I'm just surprised at how much I haven't been enjoying that. Thinking about dropping it in favor of what was always going to be my next book, which is Septology by John Foss. Part of it too is like, I'm okay with The Name of the Rose. I could keep reading it because it has plot, like it's very plot driven, and so I'm basically always able to stick with a book that has so much plot if I have to. I think part of it is that I'm genuinely excited for septology, and I kind of just don't want to wait to read it. Also, it was recommended in a Reddit thread by a lot of people that it should be read during winter. It's set somewhere in Scandinavia, I believe. I don't know. I go very blankly into books, so I don't actually know that. I think I know that, though. How was the hell? So I might pivot. I might have just decided live on camera. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, I want to feel cozied in the winter with a supposedly fantastic, sprawling, all-encompassing maximalist novel. That's the bread and butter. And I'm wearing the grease and butter colorway of the MAGMAX too. It's fitting. It's hard to say if it's because I'm sick or if I really don't like marathon pace in these, but I just felt I couldn't do it. I couldn't even do it. It's got to be that I'm sick. Can't be the shoes. Because I was also just thinking that by now, in a run, somewhere over 7, getting towards 8 miles, normally if a shoe weighs more than 250 grams, I'll start to notice, because the majority of the shoes that I run in weigh more or way less than that. And so by that point I'll be like, oh really, this is slightly heavier or very heavy, but not yet in the MAGMAX too. Although when I did just try to pick up the pace, my legs felt heavy. I'm not sure if that's the shoe. It felt heavy in my like upper legs, my hips. That was the part that I really couldn't turn over. So it's not like the bottom of the pendulum like it would feel like when the shoes feel heavy. I don't know, I'm doing a really bad job of explaining this right now. Maybe showered and studioed version of myself will do better. Long term, I'm gonna have to find a better solution to winter running than just simply running back and forth on the same road at the U of R. This is an exercise in extreme boredom and mental fortitude. That said, I could live in like Tokyo or downtown London or really Rome and get lost every day, or just have a very small area that's runnable, even not in the winter. But yeah, this is, I feel like a caged rat. I want to find the exit to the maze, but the exit is just an endless parking lot. I have to find new routes along the car divider lines. Must use imagination, but imagination refused to load. You guys ever run with your eyes closed? I was just doing it, and I'm doing it now. You gotta like blink them open every once in a while to make sure you're still on course, but oh, that's such a weird experience. I recommend it. Not on a treadmill and not like playing in traffic, but if you look around me, this is an eyes closed type of zone. Just back and forth up this parking lot. Nice, clean, iceless parking lot. Seems like I'm able to go around 12 miles without starting to crave a gel, which I still haven't had one, like 12 and a half miles in. I think I'm probably not going to, but I'm also probably going to cut it at 18. I'm just really tired. But yeah, I mean, MAGMAX too. It's a really good shoe. sorry. I just totally cut those people off. Yeah, I have no complaints. I have a piece of salt in my shoe. That's annoying. But I don't think that has anything to do with the MAGMAX. That's just winter. Riveting commentary, I know. I'm dealing with a combination of run brain and Dayquil brain, which is like the holy dualism of slow thought. See? One of the most interesting things about the MAGMAX so far for me has been the properties of the underfoot feel of the foam have basically just not changed the entire run. Like I couldn't say that there's any fatigue in the foam, but also similarly I couldn't say that like it's broken in. It feels exactly as it felt the first few strides in it. It's a really good sign. I really like this shoe. I don't really like this run, but I really like this shoe. It's exactly what I needed today. I have a pretty good feeling that both the MAGMAX and the Adios Pro equipment are going to be pretty dominant for my winter rotation. They're the two best shoes that I have to tackle the months of December through April, the long winter. There's also going to be a ton of new shoes coming out, but as of right now, nothing could touch either of these shoes for winter. Alright, quick recap. It's really cold out here. That was 1801 miles, 18 miles at an 840 something pace. It just flew by me. I didn't even see it. Yeah, 845 or 846. That was a hard run. It was definitely because I didn't eat the gels. That was a calculated mistake. I definitely should have eaten the gel halfway. That probably would have been enough. It was only literally like the last mile that I was starting to feel pretty miserable. It was like almost, hey, how's it going? It's almost harder than the race, to be completely honest, towards the end. Just like mentally, I was sad and like, you know, you get into your head with, oh, you gotta stop, you're gonna die. But I have mental fortitude, and I did not stop. Not that it would have mattered if I did. It's just a training run, but yeah, it was way harder than I expected. But the shoe, the Puma Mag Max, I can't even like describe to you how absent it was the entire run. It was like I barely thought about it. It was just there. It was consistent. It was cushioned. That's really what comes to mind the most, is cushioned. Like there wasn't even a ground beneath me necessarily. It was just sort of me floating along, not really feeling a lot of pain. Although I did, my two internal hip flexors, my groin muscles, are really worked right now, and that's probably residual from the marathon. They were feeling worked yesterday. I don't even remember what I wore yesterday. Something. Yeah, and it was just, they've been feeling this way for a long time now, since the race. Like every single run, basically, since the race, I've been noticing the amount of tension and pain in the, I mean, not quite pain, but muscular pain, soreness in the hip flexors. Yeah, see, this is really like, I'm so out of it today, so sorry if this is like a little more disjointed than normal, although you guys are used to it. You know, it's pretty disjointed all the time. I'm pretty chaotic as a person, you could say. But yeah, the only thing that I would say about the MAGMAX that I noticed a little bit towards then, and I always tell you guys everything that I notice that could be anything, is my forefoot, the ball of my foot, and the medial side of the ball of my foot up to the base of the big toe was experiencing some like friction, tension, not quite hot spots, but like the beginning of a hot spot throughout the last third of the run. towards the end, and that happens to me a lot in new shoes. And also I haven't actually had a chance to take care of my calluses on either of my feet since but weeks before the marathon even, so there's callus as they come, and that's typically when this sensation's the worst. So, and it didn't even bother me in these, so that's why it's just I am bringing it up because I always attempt to relay absolutely everything that I could think of to you all, because I just want it to be out there and you make of it what you will. But if I were to put my evaluative brain cap on, I would say that you probably won't hear about that from me again. Just this contingent on all of the other factors of my running right now. Probably, but, it's there. So, well, I'm going to go inside, get warmed up, say hi to the dogs, and I will see you back in the studio.
Donkey, donkey! Oh, the babies! Hi. Do you guys want to go outside? Oh, yes, I know. You guys are very cute. Oh. Cozy puppies! Let's go! Hockey banana! Chicky bongos!
Shortly after my run in the Puma Mag Max 2 this morning, I had a complete physiological breakdown. It sort of was just like cold shivers, hot flashes, hiding under the blankets to get warm while sweating. This came after the shower too, so there's no I wasn't cold. It couldn't have been cold still, and it wasn't even a particularly cold day for the amount of clothes that I had on. So yeah, I had a rocky couple of hours in between the run and bringing this content to you now. But I feel better. I mean, I got some warm honey water into my body, and here I am with the MAGMAX 2. It is a fantastic shoe. I honestly like. Okay, so stats really quick on the MAGMAX 2. It is a 46 to 38 for an 8 mil drop, super max stack, highly cushioned shoe. That's the idea behind it. It weighs 272 grams in my size 9.5. I did have a debate over whether to get the 9.5 or the 10, and I'm now actually doing that on a shoe by shoe basis because I've had recently some great success with Chinese running shoes going up what would be, for me, according to my foot size, actually a full size to a 10. But normally I wear 9.5, and sometimes I'm going up to 10 now. It's the whole point of that statement. But this one I decided, based on how I heard the original fit and how they supposedly widened this out a little bit on the inside of the shoe in the forefoot, as Puma is actually doing for all of their shoes. That is why I decided to stay with the 9.5. It's rarely anything to do for me with length that I have to size up. It's always 4-foot width for me personally. So fits true to size then in that size. Sorry if there's additional cuts in this video than there normally would be. I just sneezed extremely big and I didn't want to share that with you all. So if you ever see cuts in my videos, I'm not trying to be inauthentic. I'm just not trying to show you the silly stuff that goes on here occasionally. So where I was, the stats, 272 grams and a 9.5. And that's really it for stats. I mean, it has a nice padded mesh upper. Sometimes uppers that have this much padding can be a little troublesome for me, particularly, and this is something I mentioned out on the run, but particularly in getting my feet to go numb when I try to crank down the laces and get a really snug fit. But fortunately, I was able to leave these fairly loose and just not have that be an issue. Like I did on the run, over tighten these, and that became an issue, and then I loosened them, and they were fine being really loose. The longer I run, the less tight I tie my shoes. Weird, but true. The laces are slightly stretchy. Not my favorite type of laces. It could be serrated. Doesn't need to be for this model because, again, tying the shoe so loose, you probably don't really want that anyways. Heel collar is really plush, but not excessively so. I think it's ample, but, not overdoing it. The Yeah, the step-in comfort is phenomenal. It's not like a soft shoe, but it's definitely on the softer side of medium. Yeah, step-in comfort, really good. And oh, I forgot to mention the price is I paid 180 direct from the manufacturer for this. It was a little weird going through Puma's shipping. They didn't like tell me that they shipped the shoe until the day before it arrived on my doorstep, which I almost actually ran out and bought another pair from a local run retailer because I was trying to make this video today and I hadn't heard anything from them. But then I got the notification after calling their customer support to see like, hey, what's going on? Even the customer support didn't know, so it's definitely just like a process issue ordering from Puma directly. So if you order directly from Puma as a manufacturer, they're probably not going to tell you when they ship the shoe. They're probably going to tell you like the day before it gets there. So don't worry about it. It's not like an obscenely long shipping time. I think it was a total of 5 days for me. It's just that the communications were a little screwed up. But it was 180 bucks from them. I think at TRE though, somebody was saying that it's going to be 190 for this, which it wasn't. So we'll see if maybe in a couple of months, like when all of the tariffs dropped, this price goes up, but it didn't so far. So that's the price change from, or lack thereof, from the V1 to V2. I did not run in the V1 of this shoe, so I'm not going to be able to do any comparisons there. But from what I heard at the coverage, the various people talking to Puma at TRE, the MAGMAX 2 didn't really change. Like, it was an upper update and tweak, not even really an update. And I think they might have tweaked the foam a little bit, right? So before we talk about the ride in the midsole and the run today, the first thing that I noticed, like starting the run out of the gate, was this outsole is nuts. I totally get what everybody's talking about Puma grip. I was running on ice, and yeah, I was slipping because it's ice, but it was slightly better than or about the same as the Adios Pro equipment, which is the other grippiest shoe that I have, on slipperier conditions, right? So I was running directly on ice without any slush, and this handled it phenomenally. I've been considering potentially getting a sort of road to trail or gravel edition shoe for the winter because this is just so hard to run in outside right now. And that's just Rochester for you. It is a really slippery place to run in the winter. And when we get deep into like January and February, I'm going to have to resort to running on the roads. There really is no other way those months. But for now, the little patches of ice and snow that are present, the MAGMAX 2 handled, and then some. So I was super impressed with the grip. That's the first thing. The second thing was more of an overall run experience with this. It just wasn't, I didn't notice this shoe. I forgot it was on my feet. I was just like bopping along. Sort of at the beginning, I was feeling pretty good, sort of in my own like Zen state, if you'll call it that, and not thinking about much, just sort of going through the motions, thinking about my gel consumption and my strategy in the future, talking to camera here and there. But really, there was not a lot that jumped out at me about this shoe, except for the one thing that did jump out at me about the MAGMAX is how normal it felt. Like, this is a 46 millimeter. This is probably the tallest, besides maybe the Primex Strung 2 that I have, the tallest shoe besides that one. This might be even taller than that, because I can't remember what the stack height is of that offhand. And that shoe does not feel normal, and it did not work for me at all. This felt like a daily trainer, kind of. It's not, like, too extreme. I mean, it felt like I could be running on a bed of nails or, like, just any amount of glass and Legos. It could be just a field of Legos and I'm running over a field of Legos. Nothing would permeate or like penetrate this midsole. I wouldn't feel anything no matter what the surface that I'm running on. So it's like a max stack daily trainer. Who would have thought? But really, like, it's really normal. It felt like a running shoe, especially the part that surprised me the most. And honestly, I didn't think I was going to like the shoe that much, but I had promised you all that I was going to try out a Puma shoe as soon as they released new ones. and I wanted to make good on that promise. But also, I've been curious because they had a really good year in 2025. So I just wanted to know, what's all the hype about? What's all the buzz about? And the big reservation that I had about the MAGMAX 2 was just this is a big chongus back here. This is a massive, bulbous, gigantic heel. And I don't know, man. I don't really get it. I don't get the big heel thing. I think that overall, I would prefer to have more foam in the forefoot because no matter who you are and where you're landing, you're always pushing off from the forefoot. So the forefoot is always getting activated no matter what your gait cycle is. This could just be the rantings of a complete lunatic that doesn't actually understand science, both the material science and the physiological science that goes into creating running shoes and that goes into a runner's gait cycle. And I'm trying my best to learn over time how all of it comes together to create this fantastic thing that we call running. But for me, I personally would rather see more stack in the forefoot. And realistically, like, we should move to zero drop is what I'm saying. And I'm not actually saying that. I'm not actually advocating that because I know the vast majority of the population is a heel striker. And right, I mean, it would probably be a huge shift, like a Titanic level, avoiding the iceberg style shift. And clearly, Ultra tried that and it didn't really persuade the industry at all. But the reason I say that, especially in this day and age with all of these super foams, is that they're so dynamic and they're so explosive and so compressive that, like, having a big chunk of foam anywhere on the shoe isn't going to impact the weight so much as it would years ago. Right. So before, I think that brands were creating these really high drops, not only because the majority of people are heel strikers, but because the amount of foam that, or the amount of weight that you could save in the forefoot, if you did that, would be substantial. And so to have a lighter shoe, you cut out a bunch of foam from the forefoot. But nowadays, the foam is pretty light. And I mean, 272 grams for a 46 millimeter stack height shoe 10 years ago, granted, I wasn't around in running 10 years ago, but 10 years ago, the top scientists at any running brand would look at you like you had two heads. Like, they would think that you're a lunatic, that was not possible. And why would you create a shoe that's 46 millimeters in stack height anyways? That sounds insane, right? But here we are with that, right? And I'm just sort of ranting here about I would like to see more foam in the forefoot generally on the market. So that's my predisposition coming into the MAGMAX. This is my bias that I'm bringing to the table with doing this type of review. And so it was to my great astonishment that this big, bulbous cannon of a heel didn't feel like that at all. It's like I had a really bad experience with the Super Blast 2, and one of the few shoes that I've actually returned in my time of, like, running. This is before I was doing shoe reviews, but yeah, it was just like so much heel to climb out of in the Super Blast. And so I see something like the MAGMAX doing the same sort of heel construction, and I would think, yeah, that's going to be pretty hard to climb out of that gigantic stack. Not so at all. If anything, this felt like a lower drop than 8, maybe towards 6, not any less than 6 probably, but yeah, it didn't feel like an 8 mil drop, frankly. Like, it felt maybe a little less than the Mega Blast or about the same. And I know that's also an 8 mil drop, but I also felt like the Mega Blast didn't feel as high of a drop as is stated. So I was so pleasantly surprised that probably my biggest bias against this shoe going into it really didn't turn into an issue at all, right? So awesome there. And what does it feel like to run in the MAGMAX 2? That's probably what most people are here to learn about, and I will try my best to give a good description here, but it felt, so there's almost an EVA-ish quality to this, and I'm fairly certain this is an ATPU foam. I could check that. Yeah, so the midsole is ATPU, it's Nitro foam, as you could see, but I mean, everything is Nitro in Puma's lineup, basically. So that doesn't mean a whole lot, but it is an ATPU from a quick Google search. So yeah, that that had a somewhat EVA-ish quality to it, but I'm meaning this in the best way that I possibly could. And the way that I mean it is that where the Mega Blast feels really punchy, this is another ATPU foam, it feels very punchy. It feels robust also. That's a good quality of the Mega Blast. This felt robust, but the MAGMAX 2 felt more tuned for impact absorption rather than punchiness, right? Which makes sense with the weight, with the upper construction, with the padding where it's placed, with the extremely wide platform here. It just makes a lot of sense the way that this was built. And obviously, Puma put a lot of attention into the engineering of this, the design of this, and that would make sense to me too, why they would only do sort of a moderate update to it. Uh, they're very, it seems like they're doing very logical, calculated development with their shoes based on my one experience so far with the MAGMAX 2. And where I'm coming from with the EVA-ish quality is that when I've run an EVA in the past, what I really like about it is it's just simple. It doesn't like propel you, obviously, very like excitingly, right? But it's also very predictable. An EVA, a standard EVA is a standard EVA all the way through. You know what you're gonna get, and it's protective, and it worked for what, like 50 years or something? Not quite 50 years, but a long time. Maybe a little, yeah, maybe pretty close to 50 years now. And so that's where I'm comparing this to EVA, but it's clearly more explosive than that, and it clearly has more get up and go than that, especially for 272 grams, which for me personally, that is heavy. For a lot of other runners that are used to heavier shoes that they keep in their rotation, that might not be so heavy. I understand that. But for my rotation, that's on the high side for weight. So one other comparison that I was thinking about out on the run was the Mach X2 from Hoka. This is a little, I think, slower than that at a very similar weight, but with way fewer issues that I noticed in the first run on this. Granted, it was 18 miles. I don't have a ton of miles on this yet, but it felt perhaps a little slower than the Mach X2, but coming at the expense of like the mindlessness of the shoe. Like I don't actually need to think when I'm running in this, which is just such a nice, like there are very few shoes that I have tested that don't scream out to you that they're on your feet. And like there's a place for that. Like the Streak Fly 2, that was my shoe of the year this year. You know it's on your feet when it's on your feet. So, overall, just an incredible first experience. It's really hard to give something like this the kudos that it deserves when there's so many reasons, actually. The first one being I'm really sick right now, so I'm not operating at 100%, so I didn't get to put it through its paces, right? And my sickness could be influencing my level of energy that could generate hype and my own hype for the shoe. I am pretty darn impressed with this, but that doesn't mean that maybe if I were in better condition, I would have ripped some, like, you know, short strides or picked up the pace even faster on the run. I might be able to give you a more thorough, detailed review at different paces. So that's one factor going into why I might not be able to generate as much hype for this currently in my position. The other thing is it's not like I guess like it's not the fastest shoe in the world, and it's not supposed to be. But where I get a lot of excitement in running shoes is when they are the fastest shoe in the world. That makes me excited. Who would have thought? It's just fun when shoes are fun and fast. And this is fun, but relaxed and not fast, but almost flawless. And that's high praise. It might just not be hype praise. So that's where I'll leave it for now. The saga just has started. This is going to be a high mileage shoe for me this winter. I'm going to be running in this all winter. It's just perfectly timed, the release for this. Like, this is a winter shoe for sure. I mean, I don't think that it's not breathable. Like, I think it'll be plenty breathable if you were to run in it in the summer, but I think it's optimized. Like, they optimized the release schedule for this for winter for a very good reason. And I'm excited for the miles to come. So, MAGMAX 2. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, This was not intentional. I noticed that I put this shirt on well after I was setting up for filming this. So sometimes life is just poetry. All right, stay in motion.